Hi there, my name's Daniel from Transcontinental Trailer Sales. I'm going to be walking you through your 2023 Sportsman 241 Rkse. We are just going to start off at the back of the unit here. If you notice up top, we do have an you're pre-wired for an observation camera. If you'd like to get it set up with that, you can contact our parts department and they can get you all the pricing and everything you need to get set up with that. You do also have your range hood vent. You're always going to want to have this guy open whenever you get to your campsite, just so you do have the ability to let those fumes exit the unit. Whenever you are traveling, I do just recommend clipping it back up. That way it keeps the dust from getting inside. You'll notice this port right here. This is just a fridge service port. There's not much you're going to have to worry about there. You do have your furnace exhaust. Whenever this guy is running, it is blowing out hot air, so just be mindful of that. You got your spare tire in the back and your cable satellite inlet. And then just tucked away in the back bumper here, you do have a sewer hose, which once fully extended is about 20 feet long. Just take a note of those two ears there. They're gonna be the same two ears that go on your sewer outlet. We just keep it stored away in the back bumper here to keep the smell out of the unit. In the back corner here, you do have the main power plug-in for your trailer. Just take a note of that ear notch there. It lines up with this notch on the trailer side. Line those two up, push it into place, 8th turn to lock it in, and then the threaded collar to really lock it down. If you follow that cord back, you do just have a standard 30 amp plug end. Most campsites should have this so you can plug right on in, but if they don't, or if you have the unit at home and you want to run that fridge in the driveway, we do include a 15 amp park adapter. Just keeping in mind you're going down to 15 amps of power, so you can't run something like your air conditioner. Inside here is just your hot water service port, your hot water heater service port. Whenever you first get to your campsite, you're just going to want to hit this pressure relief valve. There should have been a shot of water that comes out of there. It had the tank be full, but because the tank's not full because it's winterized, there's nothing coming out, so it wouldn't be safe to fire up the heater right now. I'm going to go over a reset procedure inside. The button I refer to is just right here, and then you do just have your main drain bolt right on the bottom here. Right below, in this corner, as well as all four corners of the unit, you do have stabilizer jacks. The way those work is, you do have a tool in the front compartment. You're just gonna run this foot to the ground. And once it contacts the ground, just giving it another 1/8 to quarter turn, just to firm it up. This is one of your sewer outlets here. It's gonna work the same way as the front one. This one's just gonna be for your galley tank. So you are gonna wanna empty this one last. Just taking note of those two ears there. It's gonna be the same two ears that were on your sewer hose. And you do also have your second sewer outlet right here. The one on the left is going to be for your black tank, so you are going to want to empty that first, as it's your dirtiest water filled from your toilets. And then you do have another gray tank, which is going to be filled from your bathroom sink and your shower. So you could do that second and then just doing that back one last. Right here, you do have your city water connection as well as your fresh water connection. City water connection, if you had a site with service, you can just thread a garden hose into here, turn it on. It's gonna pressurize all your lines. And then just right below, by this front jack, you do have this little valve here. Turning that will open up the drain for the fresh water tank, allowing water to then exit the tank. Inside here just is some storage space. At the front of the unit, you do have your battery box as well as your battery disconnect. And then under here is just your 2 propane tanks. Most of the time you can do what you need to do with this cover on and just this little easy access cover open. But for the purpose of the video, I will just take this right off. You got two 20-pound propane tanks, regular barbecue style, just like home. Turning them on opens the flow of propane. Just noticing you do have a selector valve, so let's say you're running off this tank goes empty, you can just flick that over to go to this side, and you can run off this tank and you can go get this one filled. And then you just have your tongue jack in the front. Turn that power button on, just turns on the light on the front, and then you got retract and extend. And then inside this front compartment here, You do have a 25-foot water hose as well as that 15-amp park adapter I told you about. And then just on the wall, you do have your front tongue jack override, which is just a little rubber cap up top. And then just that tool I told you about for the stabilizer jacks. A little further up, you do have your exterior shower. You're gonna have a silver 751 key on your keychain. That's gonna be what opens up that. And then you do just have a black tank flush here as well. So whenever your sewer's connected, you could hook up a garden hose to here with your tank open, turning that on, and that's just gonna flush out that tank, keeping that odor down. Also, if you're getting false monitor panel readings, typically it's just debris hanging between the probes, and this guy will try and rinse that away. And then just coming out of the ground, out of the floor here, behind the skirt, you do have 2 valves. Those are gonna be your low point drains, and those are to just drain the water lines. Another cable satellite outlet, and then just 2 110 plugs, as well as your little leash latch. To get inside, you just take that handle, push it up, fold it 90 degrees, locks in place. Then you can open up the door, bring those stairs down, just noting you have these 2 knobs here. Pulling them out would allow you to then adjust your feet to your campsite needs for different heights to keep those stairs level. Taking a step inside, first thing you notice right on the right, you do have a fire extinguisher on the ground there. That's gonna be just like home, pull the pin and shoot. And then you do just have your monitor panel right up from there. That one light switch there is just gonna turn on most of the lights in the living space. Then you do have your water heater controls. You got your bottom water heater button is gonna fire it on electric. And then if you do use the LP gas option, turning that on, this fault light's gonna come on. The water heater's gonna try lighting itself 3 times. If on the 3rd try it doesn't light, this DSI fault light's gonna stay on. So you just have to turn this off, go hit the reset button, try it again, and it'll try lighting itself a 2nd time. And then you do have your water pump switch, and then you do just have this, they call it an awning light. It's just a little spotlight right below the awning. Then you have your awning button, hitting that extend. The awning's gonna start making its way out. You're gonna know that awning's fully extended when you see the back of the metal tube and the little flap hang down. So there you go, you get that little flap hanging down in the back of that metal tube. Now if it were to start raining, you can take any arm, front or rear, push down on it. It's gonna change the pitch to that awning head, allowing water to then run off. Now if you do like that better, because it allows for more shade, you can do the same thing with the rear arm, and you're gonna get more shade underneath the awning. Just always making sure you pull that arm back to straight whenever you go to bring it in, so it doesn't run the risk of bending anything. And then just the last button on this little control panel here, it's just to bring that slide out. Holding that button down and bring that slide out. You're gonna know the slide is fully extended when you hear the whines of the motor and the clicking. Once you hear the clicking, just let off the button. So there you go, you heard that clicking and I just let off the button. In the kitchen area, you do have your Nor cold fridge. Hitting that power button is gonna turn it on. Right now, you see it is on the little drop. So that is telling you that the fridge is gonna be running on gas. And then you do just have the temperature settings on the right. Hitting that mode button again, you can change it to auto. So whenever that A is on, it's on auto. So it's first gonna search for shore power. If shore power is taken away, it'll switch over to gas. Hitting that button again, you'll run solely on electric. And then one more time, and you can run solely on gas. Typically you do just leave them in auto, and then just holding that power button to turn the fridge off if you were to ever want to do so. Once you open the fridge, you do have fridge and freezer in here. Not much I'm going to show you there. In the kitchen area, you do have your microwave up top with your range hood. Like I said, whenever you are running the stove, you are going to want to have that range hood on, just evacuating the fumes out of the unit. With that being said, not only is the oven run on propane, the furnace does as well. So if you do ever hear the LP detector around this corner here going off on the ground, propane's heavier than air, this guy's going to start detecting it. If this guy starts going off, you are just going to want to turn off the main supply of propane at the front of the unit and open up all the windows, try and ventilate it out. Back to the stove. To get it to light is pretty simple, but sometimes it is a little harder than others. So you're turning that knob over to light, holding it in, just hitting the sparker. Now, when the propane's been off in the unit, air gets into the lines, and sometimes it does take a couple minutes just to clear all the air out of the lines. So just being patient with it and holding it, and eventually it lights right up. Now, lighting the oven is the same thing. Opening that up, but the oven does take longer just to clear the air out of the lines. So you're just holding that down. Just giving it a couple seconds, just hitting that sparker every couple seconds to see if it's ready to go. Eventually it will clear out, you just have to be patient. But once it is cleared out, you'll see that it does fire up right away. Just giving that a second. We'll try it one more time. There you go. That pilot light's lit. Just holding that knob in for another second. Now you can let off, turn it up to your desired temperature, and it should fire right on up. Just being careful with this glass top, as it is glass. You do have a sink with hot and cold water, as well as a microwave. I will mention that right below the sink here, there's this false panel. There's just a couple screws to get that out. And then you do get access to your hot water, the back of your hot water tank, just to access those bypass valves for winterization, if you were to do that yourself. In the entertainment center, you do have your TV backer right up here. And then you have your coax plugins, so you can run your TV noise through the stereo. And then you do have your cable satellite inlet, as well as this little black button. All this little black button is doing, you turn on that green light, it turns on the antenna on the roof. It's also going to improve radio frequency, so I do typically leave that on. All the blinds in the unit do kind of work the same way. They just kind of sit where you leave them. You got storage on either side of that. You do have your stereo down below. That's going to be just like home as well, just minus the fact that you got zone 1 and zone 2. Zone 1 is going to be your interior speakers, and zone 2 is going to be your exterior speakers. You'll notice this window here, as well as that window there. They are fire exits. You're just lifting those handles, and it does allow that window to pop right out. Just making sure you got them all the way up would help. There you go. You can slide that right up out of place. Just locking them back into place before you're ever going here. There you go. Right here you will notice our breaker / fuse panel. Open that up whenever a breaker trips. It is just going to sit in the middle, so you have to turn it off and back on again to reset it. Whenever a fuse pops, there will be a little red indicator light telling you which one's popped. In here is the bathroom. Turn that light on the left. The button on the far left does do the light, and the button closest to you does the fan up top. To get that fan to work, you do just have to open up the cap. I will say that we sell Max Air vent covers. Great thing to have. You can talk to our parts department about getting them. If you were to get those, you can leave this open at all times. There's not going to be any rain getting in, and you won't have to worry about it getting bent or ripped off during travel. But if you don't have one, you do just have to make sure you close it every time it rains, otherwise it will get wet in here. And every time you travel, I would close it as well. And then you do have your main GFI plug right on the wall here. You got test on the bottom, reset on the top. Whenever that green light's on, it is telling you got a successful circuit. If you ever have a plug that doesn't work, this would be the first place I'd check. Sometimes it does trip. And then just right on the wall here, you do have your thermostat. That works pretty simple. You got your temperature selection on the top, and then you got your fan options on the bottom right. Now, whenever you have that to the left on high or low, it's on auto, so it's an on-demand system. Once the thermostat reaches it's at a certain knows the air is at a certain temperature, it's going to turn off the air conditioner, the heater, whichever you're running. But if you have it on the right setting, on high or low, it's on, so it is going to run full time regardless of the temperature. The heater in this unit does move all its air through the floor, little floor portals you see around the unit, and the air conditioner does move all its air through the ceiling ducting you see we have. Another thing I'll mention in the dinette area, both the couch flips into a bed as well as the dinette. The couch you just have to pick up and flip out, and it's just simple to get it back in. But the dinette, you do just have to take these bottom poles out of their holders, set them off to the side. The tabletop will sit on this nice ledge. Then you just take your back cushions and fill in the center, and you have another bed. And then inside the bedroom area, the lights are just on, so they're on the center push buttons in here. And I'll also mention all the lights in the living space are also on their own center push buttons, so you can turn them on and off individually as you please. And inside the bedroom, you do have a TV backer as well in here, as well as cable satellite inlet, and you are pre-wired for Wi-Fi. Again, you can talk to our parts department if you're interested in getting that. You've got plug on one side of the bed and USB plugins on the other. That's going to be it for this unit here. If you have any other questions, feel free to give us a call.